And now, here is my secret, a very simple secret. It's only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye.
Hello. Today I am going to share another interesting real life story. The story of a huge statue of Buddha made out of clay, transforming itself into a solid gold Buddha overnight. I know what you are thinking now. You think I have gone crazy, right? But I am not. I am telling you the truth. It's a real incident happened in 1955. It's absolutely amazing, knowing how a secret that was well kept for many centuries came to light because of an unprecedented incident happened in that rainy night in Thailand. Apart from the materialistic aspect of the story, we will find this story very inspiring when we draw a parallel between this incident and the state of affairs of human life. That's nothing but our never-ending quest for self-discovery, our attempts to find and reveal our true essence. Unfortunately, it's not an easy task, as our true self is hidden somewhere deep inside us, buried under the debris of our shattered dreams. It's immersed deep somewhere in the dust of our scattered memories that reminds us of the pain and trauma of our past. Our true self is also covered with the soil of our fears, worries, and distresses, and further sealed with a hard shell of our ignorance and wrong beliefs. It's not easy to break through these layers and reach out to our golden essence. Sometimes this might need an external intervention, some kind of a miracle in the form of a catastrophic life event, or emergence of someone who has the powers to help us to remove this muck and sludge that covers our real self. Thailand is well known for its Buddhist temples. There are numerous temples in Bangkok alone. Many of them are architectural marvels having its unique design and appealing interiors. Even the exteriors of most temples are so beautiful with its brilliant mix of flashy colors. These temples are the heart and soul of Bangkok. They act as a spiritual hub for the tourists. Temple of Reclining Buddha, Temple of Dawn, Temple of Emerald Buddha, the Marble Temple. There are so many temples in and around Bangkok. However, Wat Remit, also known as a Temple of Golden Buddha, is very unique from rest of the temples. It's the abode of a beautiful statue of a seated Buddha, almost 5 meters in height, and made of 5.5 ton pure solid gold. It was sculptured way back in 13th century. But the uniqueness of this statue is that it had been a clay Buddha for many centuries till that eventful night in 1955. And that night, the miracle happened and it got transformed itself into the golden Buddha. I read the story of golden Buddha, I think, sometime in the year 2000 or 2001, as written by Jack Canfield in his Chicken Soup book. Later in 2010, almost after 10 years, I visited this temple with my kids to experience the mesmerizing scene of golden Buddha, looking straight into your eyes and smiling. I used to narrate this story in my stress management workshop some 15 years back. Somewhere down the line, somehow, it went buried in the dark corners of my memory. A couple of weeks back, I was in Ladakh. There I visited many monasteries. When I was coming out of Hemis Monastery, after a sound meditation, in a flash, this story surfaced on my mind. That was when I decided to share this story with you. Well, now, back to the Golden Buddha temple. As you enter into the third floor of this temple, you will stand stunned facing this 16 feet tall golden Buddha seated and smiling down at you. That incredible sight will bring a shine on your face. It will also feel tranquility in your heart. Caught up in this mesmerizing sight, you will forget everything except those moments of bliss. In the museum that's situated in the second floor of the temple, you can find the history of this marvelous piece of golden Buddha. The story goes like this. In 1955, because of the development of a new highway through Bangkok, many buildings were to be demolished. As part of this plan, an old monastery was also affected. So, they decided to relocate the monastery to a new place. The temple in the monastery had housed a huge clay Buddha for many centuries. So, the monks were forced to relocate this clay Buddha also to the new location. They brought a crane and began to lift the giant statue. But the weight of it was so enormous that they found it difficult to lift it. With a lot of struggles, finally they could move the statue outside. But in that process, the statue slipped from the slings and had a fall on the ground. As a result, it developed a crack. Within no time, there was an unexpected rain. The downpour was so heavy that the monks got panic. They didn't know what to do. The head monk, who was already concerned with the crack on the statue, was no more worried. He was scared that the centuries-old clay sculpture would get disfigured under heavy rain. So, he ordered to place a statue straight there on the ground and to cover it with a large tarpaulin. Thus, the shifting exercise was aborted for the day. Later that night, when the rain came to a halt, the head monk went to check if the statue of the Buddha was intact. He lifted a portion of the tarpaulin to see if the clay remained dry. As the light of his lantern reached the crack, he noticed a glow of golden light shining back. He found it very strange. As he took a closer look at the crack, he wondered if there is something beneath the clay exterior. He went back to the monastery to fetch a chisel and hammer. Soon he was back with the tools and began to chip away the clay around the crack. As he chiseled off thick layers of clay, the golden glow became brighter. He turned more curious then and so went chipping away more and more clay. After several hours of hard work, just before the sunrise, the head monk stood face to face with the spectacular, shining, solid gold Buddha. That is how the golden Buddha was born in that night. Subsequent research revealed that the golden Buddha was actually sculptured in 13th century. So how the golden Buddha remained disguised as a clay Buddha all these years? The historians say several hundred years before the head monk's discovery of the golden Buddha, the Burmese army invaded Thailand. That time Thailand was called Siam. As the news of approaching Burmese army reached the Siamese monks, they were worried that the golden Buddha would be looted by the Burmese. So, in order to keep their treasure protected from the invaders, they covered the golden Buddha with an outer covering of clay to make it look like a clay sculpture. It appears that the Burmese attacked the monastery in a couple of days and slaughtered all Siamese monks, and thereby the well-kept secret of the golden Buddha remained buried in dark until that fateful night in 1955. Now, why this story is so relevant today? As Jack Canfield rightly pointed out, we are all like the clay Buddha covered with a shell of hardness created out of fear, and yet underneath each of us is a golden Buddha, a golden Christ, or a golden essence, which is our real self. Somewhere along the way, between the ages of 2 and 7, we begin to cover up our golden essence, our natural self. Much like the monk with the chisel and hammer, our task is to discover our true essence once again. Human beings are also spiritual beings. We are all wired together and wired with the universe. Every human is born with the radiance of their golden essence, their true self, or soul, or Atman, or spirit, whatever you call it. That's why we experience a unique kind of tranquility when we look at the face of a newborn child. You experience that feel of a soothing spiritual being directly looking at you, smiling at you, the way the golden Buddha in that temple looking down at you and smiling at you. As we grow up and accumulate our life burdens, we develop our emotional skins and muscles over our soul. As a result, we lose that radiance of our true self. Slowly, it withdraws inward and get buried deep under the layers of our psychic clay. Discovering that true essence and thereby enlightening ourselves is a perpetual endeavor. I wish you discover that golden essence of yours soon by chipping off that hardened inner mortar. But to do that, you need to chip in deep into yourself. But what is the chisel and hammer you are going to pick up? Is it going to be easy or painful? Can you do it yourself? Or do you need any external intervention? Please do share your thoughts. Thank you for your patient listening. Please subscribe to receive more inspirational stories. See you soon. Bye-bye.